the best kind.
Yeah, well, I'm trying. I'm trying.
Yep.
So, sitting here today with Robert Wessels.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, and I'm glad you're here. So, running for governor.
Yes, absolutely. It's been a wild ride already. I actually declared back in July of 2023.
Oh, no kidding.
Because I said nobody knows Robert Wessels. I have not been active in government in Augusta. And I said, the key is really getting your name out there, and there's no way I'm going to be able to do that in a normal timeline. So I declared 2 years early, and I've been touring the state and talking with Mainers, thousands and thousands of Mainers for the last 2 years, and it's been amazing.
So when you say touring the state, where exactly touring? What are you doing?
Literally, I've been in every county. I've been all over the place. My favorite one was back in May of 2024. My mom and I,
a long time to be
yeah, my mom and I did. So we did a scooter trip. So like one of those little foot scooters.
Yeah.
Only it is
I was
electric.
thinking a moped.
No, like you're talking foot pedal.
You're pumping it.
Yeah. Well,
Or
so it was
pushing it.
electric.
Okay,
However, up the hill,
Yeah.
I'm pumping it because the thing just like wouldn't make it.
So is mom an athlete or something?
No, so she did. She had the important job of pulling our camper. And so ultimately,
scooter,
what
I
we
hope.
did is we started. Yeah, that would be amazing. We started up in Fort Kent,
Yep.
and literally scootered down to Kittery over the course of 2 weeks, going 30 to 40 miles a day.
Oh, I think I remember that on the news.
Yeah, I don't know if it got a
There's-
lot of news. They didn't want to cover it.
Well, there was
but
something in
on
somewhere.
social media and
yeah,
stuff
maybe
like
that's
that,
where
probably.
I saw it. Yeah.
Yeah, and so we'd just go 30, 40 miles a day, and my mom would pull the camper, and I'd scooter to her, and if I saw you out in your yard, I would stop and talk to you. Only got kicked out of a couple yards. If we would swing in businesses and introduce myself, and
Did they think you were a flipping
meetings
weirdo, or did they have a reason?
Yeah,
Just weird.
I am a weirdo, right? I'm scooting across the state talking to people. That's
Yeah, you got
by
to be
definition,
a little touched.
that's not normal, right? But it was amazing, and so we again started in Fort Kent. We were invited out onto a lobster boat. Once we hit the coast.
Was it Billy Bob?
It was not. But it was an amazing day where we woke up ridiculously early, like they do every day, and went out and did lobstering and watched and just had a great conversation about how our government is impacting their industry. Anything from regulations and red tape to offshore wind. And how all of that is impacting or potentially impacting their industry, and then just kept on going. Went all the way again down to Kittery, and that was my favorite part of. But we've been to just regular meetings and Republican meetings and cookouts and just
That's cool.
everyday Mainers.
And I have to say it out loud. I think there's a subset of politicians that just don't like lobstermen.
Yeah.
They pretend they do, but they don't.
Yeah.
And it's becoming more and more apparent with the offshore wind. I wish I had a fact checker. We talked about
Yeah.
that. Mills auctioned off, maybe you are familiar with this, 440,000 acres to
Yeah.
offshore wind next. Oh, God, I screw up their names. The solar wind people sold it off, which does nothing good for lobster, scallops, clamming, for the ocean. It does nothing good. And in my opinion, it is part of the reason we're having those very first whale entanglements in 50 years.
Yeah.
And they're blaming it on lobstermen. I don't think it's lobstermen.
On the same technology that lobstermen have been using for decades.
Yes, for 50
right. All
years.
of
at
a
least.
sudden, it just starts entangling them.
Or fancier equipment that's supposed to be breakaway and break free.
Yeah.
But no, supposedly the whale got down on the bottom, was scratching its belly on the bottom, and got the rope tangled. There was some ridiculous story. And it's too bad. And the more they push that, the worse it gets.
Yeah. Well, and it's not just lobstermen, right? In my opinion, I think that there's a lot of politicians in Augusta and DC, but we're talking Augusta, that are making decisions that are not in favor of Mainers in general. They do it in the name of green, whether that be energy, again, or lobster, as you're talking about. They're making decisions that just don't make sense for everyday Mainers, and I've had enough of it.
Well, I had somebody say to me the other day, and it is unfortunate if you're actually, people should be able to eat. And I think that having a safety net there, a social support, food stamps is a good thing, generally speaking. I think the abuse of it is a bad thing. I think the idea that people may go hungry is a bad thing. I think the fact the state is doing everything in its control to provide no jobs, no ability for Mainers to become self-sufficient, and that either you're on welfare or you're not. There's no in between. Like, I get a little bit of help. There's no, I've heard it called welfare cliff. That's what it is. A welfare cliff. You're either on it or you're off of it. And there's no in between. And that, to me, I don't know why did I go down this line? I kind of slipped off but yeah, the state of Maine, I don't think their policies are really, that's where it was, beneficial to the actual people of Maine.
Yeah.
And I think we could do a lot to help that.
Yeah, absolutely. And going with, that welfare part a little bit, the reality is that we are, and you saw this in Janet's State of the State address earlier this year, early 2024.
I think I was there, but I
was going to say, you were probably allowed in the room. I was not allowed in the room. I'm just a regular Mainer.
Watching her arms.
I literally went there to watch it and found out when I showed up that you can't get into the room because I'm not special.
You couldn't even stand in the back. Oh,
No.
And then she closed the balcony to guests. That's right.
Yeah. It was guest
just her
invite
family.
only. Guest and invite only.
Yeah.
So I literally was watching in a different room in the State House since I had already arrived. But anyway, in that conversation, she talked about, really bragged, in my opinion, about how many Mainers were helping, right? And how basically 40% of people are on welfare. And I'm like, listen, this is not something to brag about, right? Like, the only reason you're having to help so many people are because you are creating dependence and feeling good about that.
Yeah.
And you're making it so they either have to be on or not. Like, we need to be, our goal as government should be to be as small as possible and to make it so people can live life well without us as a government.
Yeah.
Right. And we are failing when we're not doing it that way.
Agreed. So I think, fact checker, I think we had 90,000 manufacturing jobs in the state of Maine in 1999 or 2000, and we're down to like 30-something thousand right now, which is horrible because those were the jobs that paid really well. I remember as a kid, we had Statler Tissue in Augusta, Maine, and all the local guys worked at Statler Tissue, and they provided for their families. They owned their home. There would be a basketball hoop out front. They drove a decent car.
Yeah.
They had weekends off. They went to the baseball games at night. And now, I mean, we have very limited. Here in Auburn, we have Procter & Gamble,
Yep.
Tambrands.
Yep.
We got Pioneer Plastics.
Yep.
That's about it. Everything else is service industry. Run a cash register, go to Dunkin' Donuts, Starbucks, whatever.
Yeah.
Or work at Walmart.
Yeah.
Hey, you work at Walmart.
I was going to say, hey, come on.
You were a stock boy, weren't you?
I did. That's how I started my career. Is
Did you ever
stocking
hear
on
clean up
overnights.
aisle 3? Sorry.
So I was on overnights, and so yes, certainly heard those pages. But generally speaking, I would walk in at 10 o'clock at night, and so it was only open for another 2 hours. And honestly, I loved the job. So I don't know what you know, but ultimately, I'm a big finance guy. If you give me a spreadsheet, that's an amazing Friday night. Just looking at a budget, and I love finances and talking investments
All the heat
and
coming
stuff
from the
like
brain,
that.
that's
Yeah,
where your
exactly.
hair
It fried my hair. And so I was in the financial services industry, and at that point, I was selling life insurance and health insurance. But ironically enough, we found out we were having our first son, Joshua.
How old?
He's now 21.
How old were you when you had him?
Oh, I don't know. I'd have to do the math. 25.
Okay. You're the numbers guy.
Yeah, exactly. And so we found out we were pregnant with Josh, and I'm like, I don't have health insurance. And so looked around, and Walmart, I could get health insurance by the time Josh came. And so I jumped on it and did it. It was really just intended to be a job for the health insurance and then go back out. But I fell in love with it. I absolutely loved
Really?
stocking shelves, and I loved walking in and the store's destroyed, and then walking out in the morning exhausted, but the store looked great. And, just, so I like that aspect of it. And I saw the opportunity in leadership and to learn leadership through the School of Hard Knocks. And over the course of 7 years, just kept, eventually made it to days and became an assistant manager. Skipped a couple levels there to become assistant manager, and then became co-manager, which is basically running the store when the store manager's not there. And 7 years later, decided to go into the cellular industry as a store manager of a couple stores, and spent the last 14 years there, getting my MBA. And again, just really, I feel like I have two MBAs, one from the School of Hard Knocks, and then one they gave me a certificate for. But
Those
absolutely
make
loved
the
it.
best people,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Yeah. Again, I felt like I had an MBA before I did it. And I was like, it was during COVID. I'm like, why not? Like this, and quite honestly, it was pretty easy because of all of my life experience. I'm like, well, this makes sense. This must be the answer. Oh, well, let's write a paper on this. This is real. And so getting the certificate was pretty easy.
I think anybody who's dug a ditch before enjoys the boss or the person making the decisions that will stand there and shovel with them or has run the shovel before.
Yeah. And I will say that one of my favorite leaders, I won't name him, but one of my favorite leaders to learn from was absolutely horrible. Right. Like I looked and go, oh,
that's what not
to do. Right. Like I walked away with so much information, so much knowledge. I'm like, oh, okay, so don't do that. That's really bad. And I was only with him for a year, but I learned a lot in that year and what not to do.
And there's so much fulfillment and immediate gratification in doing a job, seeing it through, and you can turn around and see the results of your actions, your sweat, your labor.
Yeah.
No matter what it is. And I think too many people don't know that.
And the benefit of Walmart, for example, right? I looked at it and said, you know what? If I screw up, Walmart's still going to exist, right? I'm not going to single-handedly take it down. And so there's a freedom there to, try your hand at being a leader. And it was also really interesting because so many of my direct reports were 20 years older than me. And so just learning how to maneuver, learning how to communicate and get things done and be effective, and you're held accountable, right? There's a lot to dislike about corporate America, but there's a lot to learn too. And the reality is you're held accountable for your results, and you're expected to perform. And there's not enough of that in government.
No, God, no.
Right?
And it's such an unusual perspective because when you think Walmart, you don't think leadership training, you don't think, moving up a corporate ladder, because most of the people we see when we're going in there are pretty unhappy, but they're dealing with, and which store did you work at?
Several. I started in the Oxford one because I live over in South Paris, and then I got promoted into the Auburn one, and I was there for probably a couple years, and then I got promoted into the Waterville one, and so I was driving an hour and a half each way to Waterville for, I don't remember, a year and a half or so. And then the opportunity opened to shift laterally in the same position in Oxford. And so I came back, and I was like, at first they're like, we don't do that. That's a much smaller store. It's basically a demotion, And I'm like, listen, it's a promotion to me. Like, I'm not spending 3 hours on the road driving. I go and I get to save all that money. And like, that's fair.
Yeah.
So yeah, those 3 stores.
So I was at Walmart this morning in Auburn, and I get along with all those ladies. They're wonderful people. It just happens to be ladies every morning. I go in. I go at 6 a.m.
Yep.
If it's 6:30, I'm not going in. I'm not doing it. So 6 a.m. and they're already prepping for the day because anybody who's worked in customer relations knows you take the brunt of everything.
Yeah.
Holy Hannah, people are just unhappy.
Yeah.
And there's a decline in what's the social grace? No, what's the word? The compassion? No, empathy? No, yes, all those things. But there's a term, and there's a decline of it. Just opening a door for a woman as she's walking, or any person for that matter, or even courtesy. There's a decline in courtesy, just common stinking courtesy.
All of the above.
I'm
right?
entitled. Get
All
the
of the
fuck
above.
out of my way.
Yeah.
Sorry, YouTube.
And I like to say, if you have worked retail, like retail does an amazing job of preparing you for anything in life. Because if you can successfully work with the general public in a retail setting, you can do anything. Like you can have those conversations, right? Like again, it's about working with people. It's about getting results and being able to communicate effectively. And if you can do that in a retail world, when you know, so again, I transitioned to the cellular industry, which, by the way, this is old numbers, but years ago they were talking about how the cellular industry was just ranked just above the government as far as being liked by people. Everybody loves to hate their cellular carrier.
I thought it was the energy company, but okay.
It may have changed over. Again, this is probably 10 years ago. And I'm like going, oh, okay, so me getting into government, I'm only just taking a small step down, right? But the reality is you'd have people come in and they would go up one side of you and down the other because you shut off their phone. I'm like, you didn't pay the bill, right? Like, and so you have all kinds of unrealistic expectations with customers, and you have to work through those and figure them out. And then you make missteps as a company, and you have to talk through that and adjust it and figure it out. So it's an amazing training ground. And anybody listening, I would highly recommend, if you don't know what to do with life, jump in. Right?
It's just me. I have sour grapes on it. Yeah. But I have a different life experience than you. I'm doing the best I can just to get along with people. I don't need that extra pressure. So what are you doing now? You're not doing cellular still, are you?
Officially a month ago, I gave my notice. I'd been with U.S. Cellular, which became T-Mobile just this year. I gave my notice after 14 years.
Know they became
and there's still, if you drive by, it still says U.S. Cellular. Okay. That's how fresh that news is. I want to say August 1st, but I officially gave my notice and quit because it was just getting too much, the campaign. And I looked at my wife and I said, listen, whatever the outcome is in June or November, I said, I need to get to the end of it. And I need to know that I absolutely did everything within my means that I can possibly do. And so we figured out a way that we could live life, on a shoestring budget. And I can spend all day, every day campaigning. And that's been about a month, and it's been amazing. And you can see the difference in the campaign. And
I bet.
Really glad. I said, when I get to the end of life, will I say, oh, I missed that savings? Or will I say, I really wish I had actually tried and done everything I could? It was really hard for the first 2 years of campaigning, trying to fit it in a 50-hour-a-week schedule where all of a sudden your workers call out and guess who goes in? And whether you had something planned or not, I had some events that I had to cancel and say, I know I'm supposed to be there and I wish I could be a person of my word, but here's my commitment.
And ultimately the ones that lose are your family.
Yeah.
Ultimately, because that little bit of free time you would have had, you spent.
Yep. Yeah. Literally every day off, I'm going, okay, where can I go? What can I do? What can I, because you can't campaign one day a week.
No.
So,
and you can't do politics one day. So that was one of the biggest for me as a state rep, my first term. I was really shocked at how much time, if you were going to be an effective lawmaker or even just meet the muster, how much time it took, and then to be effective, how much more time it took, and then to be knowledgeable and effective, how much more time that took, because it's such a broad spectrum of issues. And you could be a jack of all trades and the master of none, but if you're just a layman like myself, I used to yell at the TV a lot or the radio, but to know exactly what I'm yelling at and to have some facts behind
Yeah.
it, or maybe even understand the misperception of something, you have to dive in a little deeper.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's quite the awakening. And I know some of my colleagues are doing 50 hours a week just being a politician, then add campaign into that, and then try to pay your bills, split your wood,
Yeah.
fix your car,
And be there for your family.
and be there for your family.
Yeah, absolutely huge.
Yeah.
Big sacrifice.
Yeah,
Really.
And I'm fortunate. It sounds as if you are too. My family's been well. I deployed a bunch, and they for whatever reason stuck around and were here when I came home. It's not my good looks, but or my charming personality. But they're still here, and my wife dove in head first. She took on the local city committee, and she's just doing her thing and trying to support others who are doing the same thing. But as you mentioned earlier, the state is really headed in a decline that makes no sense. And I don't understand those who cheer for that decline. I can't make heads or tails of it. In some of their arguments, you're just like, what?
Yeah.
I don't get it. Why is that good?
And for too long, those of us with that perspective have been quiet,
Yes.
right? Again, we're talking years or decades.
Decade.
That
1954.
Yeah, like it's just we've been way too quiet, and so whether if somebody's listening who is like, "There's no way I'm going to run for office," okay, that's fine, right? But you still need to speak up. I was talking to somebody, they were over during COVID, and I was talking about how terribly Janet Mills was handling it and the economic downfall or free fall that was going to be coming because of all of their decisions and what they're doing. And they just look at me, eyes wide open, and go, "So I'm not alone?"
I know.
And I'm like, my mouth, I think my jaw dropped and hit my deck. I was like, absolutely not, right? But the media and the government wants you to feel like you're alone,
Yeah,
so
the
you don't
propaganda
speak up,
works.
right? And so I'm like, no, we are absolutely not alone. And so, whether you're talking about our schools, whether you're talking about energy, whether you're talking about the economics, housing, all of it, right? If you think we're going crazy and doing the wrong things, you're not alone. And we need to speak up. We need to say, this is not okay. And actually, that's one of the things that got me. That was kind of so for years, I had just had this crazy thought of running for governor going through my head.
Which is a crazy thought.
It is a crazy thought, right? Again,
Insane.
keep in mind, and just in a regular guy in retail,
No background in it whatsoever.
in politics. So I was a selectman for 4 years.
Okay.
So you learn a little bit of the ropes and figure things out, the hard way that way.
In Oxford?
In South Paris.
South Paris,
yeah.
right, yeah.
And so I was a selectman for 4 years. The last of those years, or one of those years, I was a chair. But that was my political experience, and I just said, for years I had been, just kind of had this crazy idea kicking around in my head, and I kept pushing it away, saying like, that's crazy, that's ridiculous. And the straw that broke the camel's back for me was back in the fall of 2022. Our local school district, SAD 17, was the school board was trying to pass a policy, the ACAA policy, that would allow the school to transition your children without telling you as parents.
Do you know what that acronym stands for?
I don't.
Okay. I don't either.
Yeah, but ACAA. Yeah. If they're to look it up, it would pull up. I've done that before. And I'm like, parental rights. Where are my rights as a parent that you can do that? And hundreds of us as parents spoke up and stood up and fought it. Again, this is a rural area. It's crazy that they would even think about it, but they did end up. I was very pleased. They ended up not passing it. They just tabled it indefinitely. My wife at that point, so Paris is a feisty little town. I love it. We have a recall ordinance, and we recalled the 2 school board members that had voted in favor of it. Just said, you're off.
Yeah.
And so the select board appointed 2 new members to replace those 2, and my wife was one of them. And so I looked at her a few months later. This is early 2023, and I said, so you're on the school board. Local, again, I was a selectman. She's on the school board. Being local and being involved is absolutely critical for us. But I looked at her and said, "You've got this covered, but the problem's in Augusta. Somebody needs to stand up. Somebody needs to do something in Augusta. I have the ability. I need to do it." I said, "I'm thinking I should run for governor." My wife, I thought that was the end of my campaign. She looked at me. She goes, "Okay." And I was just like, "Really? Really?" Like, she's like, "Okay." She's like,
There was a part of you that was hoping she was going to say no.
No. I mean, now when I look back, maybe, but no, like, and I was just like, "Okay, well, we just crossed the biggest hurdle. Now all we have to do is, convince the majority of Mainers, right?" I'm like, that's small potatoes compared to getting her on board. So that was a huge moment. And I was like, "Okay." So, we are believers, and we prayed about it for some months and kind of worked through the details and talked about it. And I ended up officially launching the campaign of July 2023 to my 7 followers on X at the time, and they're like, "Really? What?" And so it's just been, again, like, it's been organic, it's been grassroots, just little by little, getting out there, conversations of 10, 15 people, and just making it happen. It's been amazing.
So did you grow up in Oxford?
So my wife grew up in South Paris.
I keep saying Oxford.
I married into it. No, it's fine. It's Oxford County.
So my wife is from Greenwood.
Okay.
So yeah, I get corrected all the time. South Paris, Oxford, and
West
Bethel.
Paris.
Yeah. And I just call it all Oxford.
Yeah. So she grew up in South Paris. I like to say I married into it. Met her in college, and I grew up on a farm out in the Midwest.
Oh, no kidding.
Like 10 minutes from any civilization whatsoever, and amazing way to live life. And so,
kind of farm?
It was a pig farm when I, for most of my growing up years.
Any secrets?
And any secrets?
Yeah, you know what they do at pig farms, right? Keep moving. Sorry, had to.
And there's just no money in pigs, and so
really,
we eventually got. I mean, with farmers, like farms,
farm
it ebbs
in
and flows like crazy. And,
I suppose unless you're one of those massive.
Yeah. And so we pivoted, and I actually helped my dad pivoted into vegetables and pumpkins and sweet corn, and it was a very good pivot. He
no kidding.
Still does a lot of regular corn and soybeans, but
how many acres does he farm?
It's relatively small for out there, but 1,100.
Yeah.
And he does probably, I'm guessing, about 100 of it is vegetables and pumpkins and sweet corn. And
I bet you have some good deer.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
So not nearly as many as here, but definitely some there.
Yeah. So it's right. What is today's date? Today's October 30th. So it's hunting season here in Maine. I don't know when I'm posting this, but let's just make that clear. There's good deer at his dad's farm.
There you go.
So
there you go.
So how did you wind up going from there to here?
We met in college.
Where was college?
That was at Moody Bible Institute in Chicago.
Oh, in Chicago.
So she came out to Chicago, and
what was the name of the college?
Moody Bible Institute.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
I'm not familiar.
We both got a bachelor degree in education there.
Yeah.
And shortly after getting married, she has there's 7 siblings or 6 siblings, 7 kids
on her side.
Yeah. And some of them were quite young, and she wanted to come home and meet these brothers that she'd really never known. And, because they were so much younger.
No kidding.
So we moved back and have been with her family the entire time, and it's been wonderful.
Well, good for you.
So, yeah.
Outstanding.
Yep.
So she grew up, is she a teacher? She got her teacher's degree?
Yes and no. So when we moved back, she immediately became a teacher.
Mm-hmm.
And when our oldest son was born, she gave that up and said, and so she's been a stay-at-home mom.
That's tough.
And homeschooling.
Yeah.
So yes,
tougher.
She's a teacher of 3.
Yep.
And I will tell you again, if you do the time frame, it wasn't a political decision. She when Josh was approaching school age, she's like, I really want to homeschool. And like, she's already staying at home. I saw all the benefits, but I looked at her, I go, okay, but you have to promise me they won't be weird. Cause I don't know about you, but when I was growing up, that was a fairly common characteristic of many homeschoolers. And
How old
so
are
it's
you?
been very intentional. 46.
46. I'm 51.
Yep.
So similar. And yes, I do remember those
Yeah.
kids. You were like, what's going on with this guy?
Okay, socially awkward, right?
Yes, yeah.
So I will say we had such a group of just friends, family, like all around us that did homeschooling as well.
Oh, nice.
And believe me, at some point I told her, I'm like, maybe they're getting too much social time. Like, so we should have them home at some point.
What's the church you go to out in South Paris?
We go to Moss Brook Church.
Moss Brook.
Yep.
Yeah. Is it
Yeah, it's non-denominational.
Thank you.
And,
I was struggling. I was tripping on that word.
The fun part with Moss Brook is that, again, when we came back after college, it was just starting. It was a church plant, and our first Sunday there were about 12 people.
No kidding.
And so we decided to make that home, and have we've been involved in it, actively involved the whole time. And at some point, probably 10, I don't know, years get away, 10 to 12 years ago or so, I was asked to be part of the church leadership team. And so I've been an elder and a deacon, and like just helping grow the church and make it successful, reaching the community.
How big is it now?
I would say probably around 450 or so most weeks. And obviously there's a bunch of people who don't show up, and we're up to 2 services. We finally built a building. For years, for the first probably 20 years, we had this slogan for the church is, if you can find us, you can join us. We'd be in a school, we'd be at fairgrounds, we'd be in somebody's greenhouse, we were in a parking lot, we like just anywhere we could meet for 20 years. We'd just keep moving around, whatever was available at the time. And just a couple of years ago, we built our first building. We, just like I live my life, we refused to finance, we refused to go into debt, and did cash. And so it took a while.
Good for you.
But,
yeah, more people should. I'm not one of those practicers, but I try. So during COVID, how did that affect your church?
Very much. Well, obviously, Janet would try to keep us from going to church, and
So you still went?
so we did do a few weeks.
Not 7 years yet, but we're getting there.
Yeah, exactly. Plead the fifth. No. We did do a couple back when nobody knew what was going on, right? When,
March.
Is this crazy? Those first few weeks we did go virtual, just while we're trying to figure out and get the lay of the land. And then we did a couple weeks of car church, drive-in church. So, kind of like a drive-in theater. You could listen on the radio and everybody parked. And then we ended up in the fairgrounds for that whole summer.
That's not terrible.
We called it lawn chair church. And so
It's not right, but it's not terrible.
Well, again, keep in mind. So ultimately before that, for years, we were in a school, and the school is basically saying no.
Yeah.
Right? And I understand.
Okay.
We had to figure out, we didn't have a place.
Okay.
And so it was more of, not that we're choosing not to meet in our building. We were in a school. That's no longer an option. Where are we going to meet?
Gotcha.
And so we went, and so we spent the next 2 years just during the winter. We went to greenhouse, to local greenhouse, and met there, and just met a whole bunch of places.
Consequence free.
Yeah.
That's not terrible.
Yeah.
All right. My story's a little different, but that's okay.
Yeah.
A lot of people's stories are a lot different.
Yeah. I will say that our church grew a lot during the COVID years, and
that was going to be one of my next questions. Have you seen an increase since COVID, and then again in the last couple of years? Because I hear a lot of buzz about people kind of gaining faith.
Yeah. Yep.
You know,
Yeah.
I work in retail, sort of, kind of.
Yep.
Proxy retail. I'm in the vicinity of retail happening around me. I don't actually, unless I feel like running the register. But you hear people talking,
Yeah.
and it gives you a good pulse of what's going on. And yeah, faith is one of those things. Faith,
Yeah.
and like you said, you feel that way too. Did we say
Yeah.
that here, or did we say that before?
No, we said it here. Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah,
Yeah.
I hear that a lot,
Yeah.
a lot.
I think, and again, I think as things get worse, people will continue to search and they'll continue to look and say, "What's this life all about?" Right? Whether they find that at church, like I do, or whether they find that someplace else. I think we as humans have a natural tendency to search and ask and say, "Okay, like why? Why is all of this going on?" And
And there's a lot going on.
there's a lot going on. And so, yeah, no, our church grew a lot during COVID and continues to grow.
Who's your pastor?
Mike Booker and Tim Knowles. We have two of them. So,
Seems like I've heard that Tim Knowles name before.
yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah.
So what's next?
I'm going to run for governor.
Well,
And then I'm going to win. I'm going to get governor.
fair enough.
Yeah, there we go.
Fair enough. Where I was going.
So that's my next 8 years.
That's your next 8 years. Good for you. So I didn't want to dive down policies too much, but let's say you win governor.
Yeah.
What's the first thing? You get inaugurated. You do your whole shake hands, wave. You're now the governor. You wake up in the morning, and you have this state. You have an energy crisis, a job crisis, a welfare crisis, immigrant crisis, a housing, and
An everything crisis, right?
Yes.
I mean, pretty much, right? One of my
or a false crisis.
or what?
A false crisis. Like, I don't believe there's a housing crisis. I just don't believe, I don't see it. There's vacancy rates everywhere, but we're being told there's a housing crisis. Now, it made sense when the border was wide open and Janet clearly said, I want 75,000 new
Right.
immigrants. Yeah,
Right.
there's a housing crisis.
Right.
But now they're not coming and there's a vacancy rate. Yes. Rent is high,
Yeah.
but you're paying $2,600 a month for Section 8. What's a landlord going to do? And then property taxes are up, water
So we're
utilities is up.
creating the pricing
Correct.
problem.
And so now we're going to drop the price of houses by building more houses, but then you're just taking wealth away from those people who've worked hard. Right. It just, so I don't see that as a crisis. So I say fake crises or false crises, things out.
Self-made crisis,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
You know, I do. I think that we are because of decisions we're making in Augusta, we are creating a lot of this, the vast majority of it.
How do you
And
fix
so
it?
You make different decisions. And,
Starting with
so number one, I think that one of the very first things I'll be doing is putting a team together that will basically Doge. You know, Doge is, you know, either good or bad depending on your perspective. But before Doge was Doge 2 years ago, I was saying I need to create a team that will actively seek out overregulation and red tape and look for corruption in our government and address it all. And these would be, in my opinion, not necessarily politicians, but constitutionally minded business people that would be looking at our government, the role it plays, and figuring out what we can do to pare it down, to make our government effective, make it efficient, make it smaller, and still accomplish what needs to be accomplished.
do you have a short list?
Not that I'm going to share. No,
No, that's
Yeah,
fine.
yeah.
That's fine.
And that's been one of the benefits of touring the state for 2 years is, you know, just meeting people, right? And going, oh, they would be really good here. And so, but the reality is that corruption is costing our state a bunch of money, and inefficiency is costing our state a bunch of money. And our overregulation and red tape is costing us not only a bunch of money, but a bunch of businesses. And so, you know, we have businesses leaving the state like crazy. And
Oh, yeah.
So, like, I was talking to a local business that is pretty energy intensive, and he was saying that they used to spend $9,000, no, $6,000 a month in energy. Now they spend $15,000
Yep.
a month. Like
Yep.
that $9,000 difference, right? Like, how do you overcome that?
Yeah, that's a paycheck.
Right? Like
That's a full-time, more than a full-time.
it's more than a full,
Yeah.
like a very well paid
Yeah.
full-time
Or
person, right?
yeah,
Like it's
2 or 3.
several
Yeah.
jobs
Yeah.
that you just uncreated.
And then it winds up being a whole business because they leave because it's
Correct.
cheaper to do business someplace else.
And that was his point. You know,
That would be
he's
my
the
number
only
one,
one
is
in
energy.
Maine, right?
Yeah.
And so his competitors are from outside of the state, and so he can't lower his prices or raise his. Sorry, he can't raise his prices on his products because he's competing with people
Yeah.
outside the state. And so we are literally chasing businesses out of the state with our energy prices and the decisions we make there, with our regulations, with all of the red tape that we have to do, and all of the other stuff. I was also having a conversation with a senior manager at a hospital, and it was a wonderful conversation. And at the end of it, I'm like, okay, so what's your number one issue, that we need to fix? And he looks, he thinks, he is hiring. He goes, every time I go to hire, especially a doctor or somebody in a specialty, oftentimes, many of my applicants are from outside the state. Mm-hmm. And he said, they look at a list and Maine is just one of the states that they're considering. And so they're looking at this list with, 5-6 different states, and they're going energy, housing costs,
Yep.
education, taxes,
Yep.
cost of living.
Why would I
Maine's
go
out,
there? Yeah.
right? Like, and so the reality is, as governor, we have to look at Maine as in competition, right? Like any business is, we have to look at Maine as in competition with every other state. Mm-hmm. And right now, we're not being competitive. When
And
you
New
look
Hampshire's
at,
not far away.
it's not,
And they're
right?
doing great.
And I'm constantly being told, you know what? If 2026 doesn't change, we're moving. We're moving to
I've
New
heard that a
Hampshire.
lot,
We're
too.
moving to Florida, Tennessee, Texas, like all of these states that are doing so much better economically than we are. And yet we just continue to go down the green energy and environmental route and sacrifice our people and our businesses, our industries, for the sake of this green theory. Also, just on a side note with that, the green theory, so again, I'm all about,
It's more of a religion than a theory.
it really is, right?
It's a cult.
And again, we have a farm, and we have organic and grass-fed beef, so,
Which used to be the
right, like,
standard, right?
yeah.
For green and
Yeah.
acceptable and
so I'm all about handling our environment wisely, because
Same.
we need to be great stewards of our environment. So when I rail on the green theory, it's not that aspect of it, right? I'm in favor of that. It's much more all of the other pieces that entails, and so we just continue to go down that at the expense of people. And the other piece, I did some fun not too long ago using AI, just kind of crunching numbers. And so unfortunately, I don't remember the numbers exactly, but ultimately I said, okay, so trees get rid of carbon, right?
Yep.
And so I'm like, how much carbon does Maine put out? And they gave me a number. I'm like, okay, how much carbon does a typical tree, right, take in? And so long story short, you see where I'm going with this. Mm-hmm. The reality is, according to AI, on a conservative note, about 2 billion trees it's estimated about 2 billion trees would eliminate the carbon that Maine puts out. Mm-hmm. I'm like, okay, I'm pretty sure. I'm like, I feel like that's a pretty low bar for us, since such a huge percent of our state is trees, right? And so then I'm like, okay, estimate how many trees does Maine have, and AI estimated, like, we think about 22 billion. I'm like, okay, so on a very, very conservative level,
yes,
we're probably about tenfold taking care of our own carbon problems.
Yes.
Let's take care of our people.
Do you know Jim LeBrecq? Have you heard that name?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so Jim LeBrecq's a great guy. I listen to him on Wednesdays on the radio there. And I've actually gotten the pleasure of meeting him. He now see if I can get this right without bastardizing it too bad. If you were to take all the carbon emissions in the United States and you were to separate Maine out completely, you would be removing 0.010% of the carbon output for the United States. So hardly worth being this deranged.
Correct.
And then if you truly were about carbon emissions and this holy climate crisis, right? Hallelujah. So you would be lifting the cap on hydroelectric. And you would say, Quebec, send it to us, baby, send it to us. You wouldn't be doing what you're doing. And I've told this story multiple times. Literally, a stone's throw from here, not far, is a beautiful green field that's all clean and nice and wonderful. And they put solar panels on it. And I'm going to guesstimate about 10 acres. It's a lot. And right across the street is a sludge plant where they dumped all the sludge in the fields around it. And it's all PFAS, and it sits there empty. Why would you not put the solar panels over there? And we still refuse to test the soil underneath the... I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I could go on a rant.
Completely agree.
I could go on a rant.
And that's why, again, it's just fake green, right? And unfortunately, our mainstream media in Maine especially covers it as if it's real.
Yep.
And they don't do their job as media digging in and trying to figure out and find the truth.
No true investigation,
right? And so we've been sold a bill of goods that we have to speak up. Again, that goes for me as running for governor, but that, and you in the state rep, but that goes for everybody, everyday people. We need to say enough is enough. And we need to make decisions in Augusta that are people friendly. And we're not doing that.
So for you, have you always been civic minded, and have you always been, I guess, a financial conservative? And it seems as if, to me, a natural libertarian or a natural, I don't even know how to say that, somebody who is more liberal as it comes to the earth and nature, because you appear, based on your stories, that's kind of where you are, a physical conservative. But as far as Mother Nature is concerned, let's do it right, green, kind of.
Yeah,
which I would identify myself that way. I just don't know how to say it correctly. I'm not articulate. Nice to meet you.
You threw the word liberal out there, and
it's a dirty.
I want to be careful of that. But yes, I fiscal conservative. That's how I live. Again, we have successfully lived the last 24 years of marriage mostly on one income.
Yep.
And so you debt free, and you can't do that.
Being frivolous.
And so we have lived and continue to live on a shoestring budget, and I absolutely love it because honestly, so I don't know if you've heard of Dave Ramsey.
Oh, very familiar. Yeah.
I've been teaching Dave Ramsey courses in the community for the last 18 years.
No kidding.
I like to say that I do that just because I need the reminder every year. I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot about that part. We should probably do that. And so I've been really ultimately, for the most part, living that out. And so fiscally conservative. And I think that needs to some degree, apply to our government, and we need to be frugal, and we need to say, is this a need or a want?
Yeah.
Because we're at the point where we shouldn't be buying wants. The people, I hear it everywhere I go. We talk about taxes. I'm like, we're buying wants.
Yeah.
Right. And some of them are quite fancy.
It's crazy. Right? I had this thought literally today as I was driving down the road. The budget should be based on a needs and wants column.
Yeah.
Let's cover the needs, and then the wants, let's decide what level they are, 1 through 10, and then give the money back or stop taxing it.
Correct. 100% agree. And that's the way I've lived my life. And that's the way I would run it as governor is, let's go needs. And then I like what you said. I'm not against wants,
unfortunately,
but we need to figure it out.
It comes down to the House handles the budget, and then it goes to appropriations, right?
Yeah.
Once it gets passed through. And I don't know how close you've been watching House debates as far as the budget's concerned, but it's ridiculous. It's an absolute shit show joke. It's a travesty. And I think I'm not helping my cause. I sent out an invitation to all the candidates minus a few. I planned on sending them a couple too, but Democrats and independent alike. And I think probably I might have spoiled the soup pot, which is why I'm holding off posting this until afterwards. And I don't want to argue with anybody. I just want to talk.
Yeah.
But this won't help getting a Democrat candidate in that chair over there talking to me.
Right. Like, so hopefully they're willing to have a conversation.
Yeah, I hope so too.
Right. Hopefully they're willing to talk about it. And we know that we're not going to agree on, everything. But let them get their view out to your viewership. Right.
I would love to ask Nirvaj Shah, why did you close the schools?
Yeah.
Why did you feel okay imposing that shot on everybody? And whether you want it or not, go ahead, do it. I'm fine, whatever. You do you. And I probably have a different opinion than you as far as abortion. I'm pro-choice. However, there should be a conversation. And somebody dies every time you do an abortion. We should be honest.
Correct.
Not lie about it.
Yeah.
But I'm an absolute freedom kind of guy. I'm kind of crazy that way. I'm like, you do you. If it doesn't hurt me or the guy next to you, yes, you do hurt somebody.
But
there are circumstances. Wade versus Roe v. Wade was okay. Yeah. Rare and infrequent, right? That's what was in there. So, but yeah, I don't even know where I was going with that.
And then you look where we're at, right? But going back to your original question, talking about, so again, I think libertarian is a good word. I'm not a libertarian, but I meddle pretty close. Again, going back to that small government and really the involvement.
How do you define libertarian?
I don't know.
I do the absolute freedom thing is kind of...
Yeah. And so again, I think that, and I guess where I'm saying, because again, I'm Republican, I'm not technically in the Libertarian Party, but I agree with so many of my libertarian friends and people I talk with that, I'm like, they sometimes they take it further than I do.
Yeah. For sure.
Like if you were to libertarian to the nth degree, I'm like, no, I'm a small government and not,
not an anarchist.
Yeah, exactly.
Settle down, boys.
Exactly.
Settle down.
So obviously there's a spectrum with all of us, and so, but no, I would certainly say I play close to that line, much closer than I do to the left line.
I wonder if 15, 20, do you remember 15, 20 years ago how your political leanings were?
I feel like 15, 20 years ago, I really didn't have a whole lot of political leanings. I think we go through stages in life. And
was it Clinton?
2006.
Would have been Bush.
Yeah. We go through stages in life, and I really feel like my leanings at that point were taking care of kids, feeding mouths, and just I like Dave Ramsey has this thing where he talks about where basically when you're just so focused on providing, right, and living life, your head is down and you're focused on yourself, and it's not until you get to the stage where we're comfortable might be the right word for it, but as fiscally as we're able to look up, and you're able to look around and see your immediate surroundings, and so during 15, 20 years, it's like we're buying diapers, we're buying we're just making it.
Yeah.
And so there wasn't a whole lot of big picture, what's our government doing, going on in my life. I've always been enamored with the idea of, politicians and what they do. And, even back in high school, loved, looking into it and stuff like that. But during that particular time frame, just focused on life. And it wasn't until we got to the point where the house was paid off and we were, able to look beyond even our immediate family and look at our community. That's when I became selectman, and that's when we were able to just look around and say, okay, what needs to be done around here? And now this is where we're at.
How is it being selectman? What was your biggest challenge?
I mean, the biggest challenge to me is really, again, you're having that same balance, right? Trying to balance roads with taxes. When I came on the board as selectman, they had already decided to not hire the current town manager, not extend the contract to the current town manager, and so came in with a clean slate right off the bat, hiring a town manager, which was pretty comfortable for me in the retail world, hiring people, management and stuff like that. I did it often, and so that was really good to jump into. But at the same time, they had defunded the roads mostly for a number of years, and people were irate about
Where'd the money
quality.
go?
They just cut it from the budget.
Really?
And funded other things.
In
It
lieu
wasn't
of
like
what?
zero. It wasn't zero, but it was pretty low. Like
Right, no kidding.
we were getting behind on the roads considerably, and so roads are something that you need to spend every year on, and to keep up with them, or you're constantly chasing your tail. And that's the stage where we were at. And so we had to overfund for a couple of years to catch up a little bit. And so just trying to, again, goes back to the needs versus wants, right? At some point, those roads become needs, and, you have to. And so I prefer to have a status quo budget, right? Like meeting all of our needs, and trying to keep those taxes predictable. But it was a balancing act for sure.
How much was your budget overall?
I don't remember off the top of my head. I do remember that the school was over 50% of
No kidding.
taxes.
Did the state kick in? So they didn't kick in the 55?
No, they did, but
They did, but still it was-
our portion of the school budget was more than 55% of what we paid in taxes.
What do you-
our property
'cause-
taxes?
Small town. What do you have for schools in South Paris? You don't have a high school, do you? Do you
So
contribute
we're
to
part of
Telstar?
SAD 17.
Which is
Oxford Hills.
Okay.
And so it's a big district.
Yeah.
And so we're combined with, I'm going to miss some of them, but
yeah.
Oxford, Norway, Harrison.
so it's Telstar High School.
No, it does. No, we have our own. It's right in South Paris.
Sorry,
right
everybody
on the
from
border
South
of South Paris and Norway.
Okay.
So if you're
What's the name
if
of
you're
the high
taking
school?
26, Oxford Hills Comprehensive High School,
Oh,
very
sure.
original.
Okay. Yeah. Why am I not? Yeah. All right. Yeah,
When you're
yeah.
taking 26 and it all of a sudden takes that hard right at the light
Yep.
in Norway and Paris,
Yep.
that school is right on the corner there.
Yep. I know right where it is. Yep,
Yep.
for sure. I'm sorry. I was
No.
at the Obershon. After the Obershon, take
Yeah.
that hard left. Well, coming this way down
Yep.
26. Yeah. I was just there the other day. I don't know why I drew
Yeah.
a blank. But anyway.
Yep.
So energy is one of your big focuses.
I like to say cost of living. That includes energy.
What else?
That also includes, to your point, where we're at with housing. That also includes.
Where do you think we're at with housing? Now that I've spewed my 2 cents. but-
I think that, so again, I have a 17, 19, and 21-year-old, right? My 21-year-old is working and would love to get out of the house. And, we're looking at renting prices are through the roof. And so we need to get those under control for everyday Mainers.
How do you do that? Other than energy?
Right.
Well, taxes.
But, I mean, energy, taxes, right? They're all mixed in between. They're all mixed together. It's not just one thing. You can't focus on one. You have to focus on all of it. I believe so. Several things play into housing. Again, I think it's a supply demand issue, to a degree, and some of that demand, we still have a lot of illegals in the state. We need to address that. We're
Everybody
not addressing
forgot
that
about
well.
the Thomas and Topsom rather, the big complex where they have free housing,
Yeah.
free rent, free utilities, free.
I'm not sure if you're referring to the same one. There's one in Brunswick.
Yes, there's one there as well.
And we literally, you literally had Mainers kicked out of this major housing complex so they could put illegal immigrants in there. And so,
Might be a different one. Yep.
yeah,
There's
and so
multiple.
we need to stop that, right? And so that helps the budget, but that also frees up housing for people who, whether they're veterans or whether they're just people who need the housing.
And then just to throw it out there, I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, but Lewiston and the crime, and now they're voted ninth safest city in the United States, which is absurd by Wallet Hub.
Yeah.
So you'll see that cascade, but lack of reporting crime,
Right.
which
Right.
is provable.
And changing what crime is.
Yes.
Right. We can, double the amount of cocaine and still,
How do we fix that? Because then you've dealing, and I've brought this up to other candidates too. I'm like, so as governor, you're still limited.
Yeah.
There's not
Very
a
much so.
Ton.
We're dependent on you.
Yeah.
Right.
100%.
And so the reality is you can get a Republican governor in there. And quite honestly, when I look at the 8 people that are currently running, any of them would do far better than not only Janet Mills, but quite honestly, the Democratic candidates, in my opinion, that we're running against. And so you can get a Republican governor in there, but without, if we keep a Democrat House and a Democrat Senate, we'll just be doing a lot of vetoing. And so the reality is, and people, we need Republicans to vote all the way down the ticket. Don't just vote for the president. Don't just vote for the governor. Vote for the state rep. Vote for Senate. Vote for your select board and school board, because the reality is we absolutely, to create as much change as we want and need to create to move forward, it's going to depend on you in the House and the Senate.
What do you say to those people that say, I'm not going to vote, doesn't matter?
I would say we were, I believe, don't quote me on this, you can get your fact checker, but it's one. Like
That'd
200 to 300 votes,
hint, hint.
200 to 300 votes away from having the majority in the House.
Yeah, it was like 100, I think.
Yeah,
I think it was very small.
Yeah, and so again, the reality is, yes, you can make a difference, right? My first time running for selectman, I didn't get it. I was against an incumbent and of 15 years or whatever, and he beat me by 50 votes. I was like, okay, I'll take that. A month later, somebody stepped down, left their seat, and so there was a year left. I'm like, I've got the signs. I've already gone door to door. I've done all the campaigning. Why would I not do this? And I won by 1 vote. And so again, like,
wow.
Yeah, like recount, 1 vote. I'm like, all right. And so for months, people were coming up to me saying, hey, it's because of me. I'm like, you're 100% right. Right? Like literally all of you are 100% right. It was because of you that I got in and had that chance, to turn it around. And so a year later, went up for re-election.
That was going to be my point.
And won by like 250 votes or something like that. And so I was like, okay, I'm doing all right. But it was really fun winning by 1 vote. And so your vote matters, right? If any one of those people didn't go out and vote, it wouldn't have happened.
You want to take a sideways walk down some weird lane here?
Sure.
All right. So have you heard of this quasi-sun thing?
The quasi-sun.
Yeah. So it came up on Yahoo News. And if you're not familiar with it, we'll move on. But there's since 1960, there's been an asteroid that's been following the same path as the moon, quasi-moon. It's been following the path of the moon. It's been in our orbit since 1960, and it's going to be here until 2082 or something, but they call it a quasi-moon. NASA's calling it a quasi-moon.
And it's just an asteroid.
Yeah,
officially.
just floating around. And then all of a sudden, there's all these reports. Have you seen those of all these asteroids?
Yeah, this is all news.
Oh, it's crazy. It's crazy. I watch, Rogan, for instance, he talks about it quite a bit, but I do a lot of podcasts and a lot of talk radio, and you just hear about it all the time. You haven't heard any of
So
those,
what's the change?
just more asteroids floating by, close calls too. And then some of them are very interesting. One of them is shedding nickel, and the tail isn't on the back, it's on the front.
Huh.
And they guesstimated the size, and then when they finally acquired it, or however, visually, it was much bigger. So therefore, there was part of it that wasn't and I'm going to mess this up. I'm not an astroscientist. It was bigger than what they could actually visualize previously in the peripheral or however that works. And it's just weird. A lot of weird stuff going
Yeah.
on, even in the skies.
Yeah.
I didn't know if maybe you...
No, I.
So what do you do for fun then?
I know,
Obviously,
right?
I listen to weird stuff.
I tour the state and talk to people.
That's it?
That's, I mean, that is.
Ski?
We do ski.
Ah, see?
I'll be honest, I did a lot more skiing. So we have Sunday River, not too far.
Yeah.
And Pleasant Mountain, not too far. And so it's a wonderful place to be. But I've only skied probably 3 times since starting to campaign. So, yeah.
No golf?
I love golf. I'm terrible at golf, so you don't want me as your partner, but you might like to golf against me, and I would enjoy it. So yeah, I looked at my wife. I'm like, it's been years since I've actually gone a whole nine holes. I'm like, it'd be fun to golf again at some point. But so, yeah.
And what else?
Yeah,
Camp?
So we do enjoy camping. We actually just sold our camper. The same one that we used with the scooter trip, decided to sell that because we just weren't using it anymore. Again with the campaign,
Cutting funds.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just making.
How is fundraising?
Oh, I hate it.
Yeah, I
hate
know.
it.
It's
Yeah.
the most terrible
So
part
hey,
of
if anybody's listening, go to voterobertwessels.com. You can donate. Absolutely. So I'm
Do you
running.
have an antidote?
Yeah,
QR
and through
code?
Anodot.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so Facebook as well as online, you get a web page?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So I have a webpage, voterobertwessels.com. I'm on Facebook. We're on X.
Instagram?
Instagram,
Same.
which I'm terrible at Instagram, by the way.
So is everybody over the age of 30?
I've handed that over to my 19-year-old, said, here you go.
Yeah.
And he's doing much better. And just recently jumped on TikTok, also terrible at TikTok. And so... but yeah, so fundraising, I went traditional.
Yep.
Probably won't surprise you, but I looked at it and I said, quite honestly, for no other reason than I can't take taxpayer money, which is what clean is. It's, they call it clean. I like to call it taxpayer funded.
There's always a misspeak with all
Yeah.
that.
And the reality is, my traditional campaign will be clean as well, right? Like nothing dirty about it. And so I can't take taxpayer money. And so I'm going traditional, which hurts me.
Much more difficult.
Much more difficult. And, and chances of raising a lot are harder. And so I've raised at this point probably somewhere in the realm of 40,000.
Yeah, good for you. Not an easy.
And everybody I'm up against is somewhere between 300 and 500,000. So it's, yeah. I don't enjoy the fundraising part. I'd much rather just be out there talking to people about policies about the state and get their opinions. And but we're really kicking up it a notch on the fundraising piece because it's a necessary evil.
It is,
and
it's terrible.
The reality is getting your name out in front of people, going in person, going to events, going door to door. You need money for all of it, and so.
I was taught by Laura Libby.
She's great at it.
Oh, good Lord, she is too. She is very regimented, very, very regimented. So you go through your whole contact list, you do this whole setup, and then you call every person. And it kind of reminded me of the stories you hear about people getting sober or something, and they have to apologize for all their sins. And I'm like,
it's your 12-step calling list.
Oh, man, was that brutal? And then some of the people are like, yeah, I don't think I'm going to help you out. I don't agree with you. And I'm like, yeah, have a good day. I thought we were friends. Never mind.
Yeah.
Did you do that?
And so I've called some of them. I've written letters and just recently sent out a bunch of letters. And so yeah, like that's part of my struggle is going, okay, like, is it worth losing friendships? Right? Is it, because, all of these people I get along with, even if we disagree politically.
Right.
And the reality is those who I know disagree vehemently with me politically, I won't even be reaching out to. But
well, I had no idea some of them.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
No idea. We worked.
A lot of them.
It came out in
I don't
left
know.
field.
Like,
I'm like, yeah,
yeah.
okay, I guess we're not friends anymore.
You're just my brother. Like, can we still be family?
Yeah, can we? Well, maybe not. I guess I'm doing something different for Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
So yeah, you did the fundraising, which is a chore. Still doing
Still
it.
doing it. Still
Yeah.
doing it. I don't think that will be done
And
until June or November. So
June coming up quick.
it is. It is. It's funny because, again, especially for me, I've been going for over 2 years, right? And when I started, it seemed like forever. It seemed like so long ago or so
Oh, I bet.
far in the future, right? And here we are. There's 7 other people in the race with me now. For years, I was joking that, like, hey, if there was a vote today, I'd win. That's no longer, a
And there's
legit
still more thinking about coming out.
I would not be surprised if we have 2 or 3 more.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm like, how do you do that? Like, this is a marathon and you're jumping in for a sprint at the end.
It's all about name recognition.
It
A
is.
good portion of it.
No,
right?
it is.
Yeah.
Yep. And so, and again, that's why I launched early, is because I acknowledged the fact I didn't have that. And I can tell you, my campaign would not be where it is now. And again, just the poll in my head, I put myself, somewhere towards the top, and I would not be there if I had not been campaigning for the last 2 years and meeting people.
Yeah.
I was really glad I made that decision.
Yeah, I think you probably made the right decision there.
Yeah.
It's hard to tell until all.
Yeah. I'll tell you in June.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. And then Tuesday next week,
Yeah.
after that happens, that's when it really, the heat gets turned up, the volume gets turned
Yeah.
up. And I think that's when other candidates are going to come out,
Yeah.
because that election's done. They may be
Yeah.
focused on other things or whatever the case
Yeah.
may be. And then it's the sprint to June. And I have a feeling, I've never done it,
Yeah.
but I'm going to guess, having been in a campaign, that it's going to be a sprint to June. And
Yeah.
then from June will be another sprint to November, turning it into a marathon at full pace.
Yeah. I completely agree. That's, again, as inexperienced as I am, it's slightly different, campaigning for selectmen versus this, right? But the idea and the concepts are all the same, just on a much grander scale. One thing that I have made very intentional the entire time, and we're really starting to see it now, and a year ago I was doing it as well, is this can't just be about me. And one of the things that I think Republicans in general do pretty poorly is working together.
Yeah.
We're like, so I love the fact you have the Democrats who basically say, hey, here's the way it is, get in line, right?
Agreed.
We had when I launched my campaign on Facebook, there was a Democrat senator from the area who came on the community page and said, hey, I'm running for Senate. And one of the people on the page said, oh, what is your platform? And she's like, oh, Democrats, we believe this. And it was a cut and copy and paste, right? He's like, you missed the question. What is your platform? And copied and paste. This is what we believe. And like, no. Contrary, I went and I launched and I'm like, hey, here's my platform. Here's exactly what I created. I didn't like this. I do like that. I put this in, and so we're free thinking and on our own, right? And I love that, but it's hurting cats.
Yes, it is.
And we need to reel that in to some degree. And the way I have been doing that and plan to continue doing that is pulling in other people who are willing to be pulled into the campaign. And so last Saturday, I'm looking at the elections going on in Augusta. The Augusta school board is horrible.
Yep.
I don't know if you've been following that or not,
a little bit,
but and so I found out there's several candidates that I like their stances on some key issues. And again, that's nonpartisan, right?
Right.
But there were a couple, 3 candidates that I really like their stances on key issues that I think Augusta needs. And so I reached out to them and said, hey, I'm going door to door in Augusta next weekend, speaking of last weekend, and said, again, there's a risk with this. I understand if you say no, but I'd be happy to stick your literature in my bag with my literature.
Good for you.
And
There needs to be
we
more of
ended up
that.
having, about 10 people, 10, 12 people going around door to door, and did probably 700 lit drops around the city. And again, like, we need to team up. We need to work. I've already reached out to somebody who's going to be running for state rep. I'm like, hey, happy to team up with you if you're willing to be seen with my campaign.
Yeah.
Right. If it helps you hit 1,000 more doors, then why not?
Right.
Right. From my perspective, again, you have to.
No, I think
yeah, like,
I think you're spot on. I think if there was more of that,
Yeah.
we can disagree because Republicans notoriously disagree on everything, even if it's one iota. And that's one of the follies and one of the benefits, of being a Republican is we just don't agree, and you're allowed to have your opinion. And we could hash it out all day long and get mad and walk away, and tomorrow we'll be eating breakfast together and voting again.
Yeah.
And you're allowed to have your mind.
And so we're not going to agree on everything, right? And again, I love that about our party, that we don't have to. And you can have a vote in the state house where I go, oh, it's terrible, right? Like, okay. But 9 times out of 10 or 8 times out of 10, we're going to agree. And to me, it's worth teaming up to make each of us stronger and better and help turn the state around. And so I'll throw it out to you. If we're campaigning at the same time, happy to, knock doors with you and your team and do that. But I think we need more of that around the state. And so I will tell you that I reached out to probably 10 people last year and actually knocked doors with one. And
Out of 10.
Out of 10.
Yeah.
And another one said yes, and we just couldn't make the schedules work.
Yeah,
and so
okay.
to me,
So
that
2 out
was
of 10.
fair. So 2 out of 10.
8 we didn't reply.
Yeah. And either A, didn't reply, or said, I don't need your help. Am I okay? Like,
Yeah.
So again, happy to.
Glad you're that confident.
To be fair, they won. So
Yeah, okay.
all right,
Touche.
But I think we just need to. The offer's out there, right?
Even just to show some kinship,
Yeah. So
Sorry, I love nicotine.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't drink. I don't eat garbage, but I love nicotine and
Yep.
caffeine. Those are my sins. I'm not giving them up yet.
I'm on there with caffeine.
No mashed potatoes, but boy, you want a cup of coffee?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good. Thank you.
I can't believe 8 out of 10, even if they knew they were a shoe-in, because there's some names pop into mind, and I'm not going to do that. But names pop into mind.
Yeah.
We're very confident, and for good reason, right?
Yeah.
They've owned that area for a long time, but still, why wouldn't you?
And again,
Well, why wouldn't you vice versa?
vice versa? Flip it on.
Doesn't mean you're endorsing. Just,
Correct.
hey, I happen to be in the same
Like,
area
hey.
as them. Here's some info. Get to know them.
And at that point, I was the only candidate for governor, right? So there wasn't a risk saying, hey, I'm endorsing this person. I was the best at the time, but right?
Good for you.
But the reality is, right? Like, it's not saying, hey, this guy, let's just combine lit and help me out, if you're so confident. But it's just an interesting perspective, and it was in that moment that I was like, okay, like this is an issue for us as Republicans in Maine.
It is statewide,
And
for sure.
Yeah, we need to fix that. And so ultimately, my goal over the next 8 months is to knock as many doors as we can, and to team up whenever possible. If I know I'm going to be going to an area, find out who's in that area that's running, and say, hey, do you want to throw some your lit in with mine? I understand if somebody says no, I won't be offended.
Right.
But I want to offer.
Yeah, good for you.
So.
Lewiston's hurting really bad right now. Well, the state's hurting really bad right now. Some places have pockets of
Yeah.
swill that's worse than others. Lewiston, Augusta, yes, I'm
Yeah.
not loosely, but not tightly aware of. You know what I mean? I'm recognizing there's a problem in Augusta, but for me, because it's my neighbor, Lewiston is just what I can't fathom. I can't understand. I don't, and I realize it's all based on money. The city gets money because they take in but how is not taking care of a problem generating more money? and there is a problem there. Crime is
Yeah.
200 gunshots the week before last. I don't know what it was last week. 200.
Yeah.
200.
And we're not addressing it.
And ninth safest city in the United States. How can those two statements live together?
Right.
I don't understand.
Right.
And no, we don't address it. We pretend it's not a problem. And I cleared this place out, but yet there's fruit flies. Where the hell did they come from? I mean, look, there's no food open. There's no trash open. Anyway.
Well, I'm just really happy that, they're hanging out
me
with
now?
you. Yeah.
Well, they were buzzing you a little while ago. But I don't know. It is what it is. So door knocking, fundraising, how else are you getting yourself out there other than coming and talking to me?
Podcasts, right?
What other podcasts have you done?
Well, I really not many.
Okay.
I have been on Muddy Waters.
Yeah, sure.
And so, and I'll be, GOP is coming out with a new one.
With Christina.
Parker.
Yep.
And
Nice
I'll
girl.
actually be doing that one tonight.
Oh, good.
So
Where are you doing that?
Augusta.
Oh, great.
Yep.
Yeah.
But ultimately, it's been going to meetings, going to groups and events that are already happening. And so, for example, there was a TPUSA fundraiser over in Lincoln County. Actually, it was hosted by Lincoln County in Sagadahoc last night. And so I went there. And so just joining groups and meetings that will have me and speaking to everybody around the state. And so I have, so far, it's growing, but when I create my own events, not many people show up yet. And so, again, that number used to be much lower, but it still seems to be much more effective to join already existing groups and meetings and getting out the word that way.
Are you running your own campaign, or do you have a manager?
I have a campaign manager. His name is Will, and he's 19 and a brilliant young man.
First one?
Yep. So for the first 2 years, I've been running it myself. And
a lot of work.
A lot of work. And again, figuring things out and what to do and what not to do. And Will heard about the campaign and family friend and said, "Hey, I want to help. I want to do this." And I love his perspective. And my 19-year-old son has joined the campaign full time as well. And so it's really the three of us that are.
Is that who was here today?
Yep. That's they dropped me off, and one is going door knocking, and one is taking the car and dropping off a bunch of signs that we had, people had requested in the area. So making the trip count.
Oh, I was going to say that. You're making making the best of every
hey,
situation.
Going to Auburn, what can we do?
Yeah.
And we're
Good
like, well,
for
we
you.
have these signs. I can door knock. I'll create a list and go door knocking. And so,
Does that come with the fiscal responsibility?
It is, right?
Yeah.
Do you know that it's about $14 to ship a sign? So if you were to say, "Hey, I want a sign," because they're so awkward.
Yeah.
I was like, that's ridiculous. I'm like, we have
$14
to ship a sign.
No kidding. In the state.
Yeah, and so I could charge you $20. And if my sign is $4, I'm literally making $2.
And so, how many are they putting out today?
I don't know exactly, but I think at least 5.
And is there a goal on doors knocked?
Our goal is
Today, just
today. Probably, I would think 100 would be, but we've been generally aiming for 300 with 3 of us.
No kidding. That's a big day.
We've done the fruit flies back.
Yeah,
over here.
yeah.
You pushed it over here.
Why. So, if nothing else, I'm sincere. I don't lie to people who are watching and whatever. This is life. I live in Maine. It's the end of the garden season. My wife has a big, I think that garden is 60 feet by 40 feet, and it's right out there. And of course,
we have a garden. Absolutely love it.
We don't till.
Yep.
So there's stuff out there.
Yep.
They must find a way to.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, it's warmer in here.
Yes. Yeah,
So
you go.
this is
Fair enough.
season,
I
right?
didn't put that
Yeah.
together. I thought I made this. I built this. I thought I did a good job weather tight, but I got to open the door once in a while. So
It's warmer in
what
here.
it
The
is.
fruit flies are hanging out. There you go. Jump in there. Jump in there. But yeah, we've done. We did. I want to say 300 in Bath yesterday. Again, same thing. We had an event in the evening in Bath, and I said, "Hey, let's go 5 hours early and go knock doors." And so
No
We've
kidding.
probably done
Good for you.
Probably done 900 doors.
So it's
in the
not a
last
lack of
few
work.
days. So no, if nothing else, I will outwork every other candidate.
So
That's
what
my
happens? And I hate.
goal. Yeah.
What happens if you don't win? What are you thinking?
If I lose the primary, I jump in and help others. Again,
Okay.
this isn't about Robert.
Right.
This is about Maine.
I kind of got that impression.
And,
That's why.
and so, will I work my butt off and try my hardest to be the person? Yeah, I will. But again, it's not about me. And so, jump in. If they'll have me, jump in, help their campaign, and help them win. And from there, who knows?
So, which is another issue with the Republican Party.
Yeah.
From my personal experience, sour grapes.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that because of a difference of opinion.
Yeah.
The Democrat Party do a better job of that.
I am 100% confident that the Republican that wins the primary so far better than any Democrat that's going to win the primary. And so I'm 100% confident that I will be pushing for that person.
Now, what makes you a better candidate than, say, anybody else? This isn't the intention of this, but it seems like that's where we're headed. I just wanted to talk to you.
So I struggle with that conversation, right? Just because I hate talking about myself, and I've had to overcome that over the last couple of years.
That's a challenge, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm like, I guess I have to talk about myself. That's terrible.
And you got to be sincere.
Yeah. So the reality is, there are a lot of really good candidates on the Republican side this year, and I'm happy to say that because I truly believe that. There's a lot of us that are good. I think that one of the biggest things that sets me apart is the fact that I'm not a politician. I'm just a everyday regular Mainer who has gone from stocking shelves to running stores, and I think having that perspective and that connection with everyday Mainers and knowing what it looks like. To see that paycheck come in and go out, and to feel that pain, and to live on a bare bones budget for the last 24 years so you can raise a family and watch that family and be a family man. And all of that plays into who I am, and all of that plays into the decisions that I'll be making. I think the business perspective really plays a lot into what we need in the state. And even if I haven't been CEO, I think that I bring that with my MBA and my years of business experience. And,
your personal life.
Yeah,
I
and
find
personal
more
life. Yeah,
validation with how somebody governs their own life. Yeah, for sure, 100%.
And I challenge anybody who's watching this, right? Not in a conceited way, but just dig into my personal life. I'm confident that I can explain anything, and I'm confident with what you'll find. I have no issues there.
Well, you Midwestern guys are all the same. You're either squeaky clean or you're not. There's no gray area.
Well, so the reality is, when I first talked to, I'll leave the name out, but a state rep that I really like and trusted, and said, "Hey, I'm thinking about running." He's like, "What do you have for skeletons?" And the reality is, I said, the only one I can think of is the fact that I wasn't born here, right? Like the Midwestern, right? Like, again,
isn't a terrible thing.
I'm like, I was on a farm, 10 minutes from any civilization, right? Like, the culture that I grew up in, farming America, is extremely similar to what we have in most of Maine. And so I look at it and say, I'm a Mainer, but I understand. Yeah.
Oh, for
I'm
sure.
from away.
And how long have you been here?
23 years?
Yeah, you think you've earned your stripe.
So that's why I say, I'm like, I married into it, right? Like, her family's accepted me,
Then you're
we're
in.
okay.
Okay.
Right. But yeah, that to me, that's what you're going to find. And, we have a farm. I don't know that we said that on,
Yeah, you did.
on
It's
air
green,
here. So,
organic.
okay. Yep. We do. Yeah. Beef.
Oh, yeah,
and-
we didn't cut. You do beef?
Yeah. So we have grass-fed beef.
How many
We have
critters?
About 40.
40, no
Yep.
kidding. Some chores there.
And so the farm has existed, Shaw
200
Farms.
chickens?
And 200 chickens, layer chickens. So we have eggs.
Yep.
And the farm has existed for decades, generations.
Shaw, you said?
Shaw Farms. Yep.
SHAW?
Yep.
Huh?
Shaw Farms of Maine
Okay.
is the website. And my father-in-law was doing the farming probably up till, I don't remember, 5 years ago or so. And he just got out. And my wife looks at him and goes, now's the time to get in. Like, we don't know where our food's coming from. We don't know what's in it. And like, why are you getting out? He's like, because I'm overworked and doing it all myself.
And no
so she's like, well, if, she mentioned her sister and said, if, the two of us jump in and help, can we, are you in? He's like, yeah. So we jump back in, and have grown it since then. And
So it's a whole full family affair.
so there's 3 of us families that are all joined in together and doing it. And
Well, so that's not too bad then.
no. And
How many acres is Shaw Farm? Gives me a perspective.
yeah,
I don't know if it does
so,
anybody else, but
a couple hundred anyway.
nice,
And so again, it's all pastured, and we do our own. We try to balance, feeding and doing the hay and getting it ready and stuff. But it's all grass fed.
so between the beef critters and your layers, what
Yep.
else you got going on over there?
During the summer, we do pigs.
Yeah.
So we do pork.
Summer hogs.
Yeah. We don't keep them all winter. And then we do meat birds during the summer as well. Those things are ugly. I don't know if you've ever done meat birds.
I'm familiar.
I'm like, oh, those are,
They grow so quick.
yeah.
It's crazy.
And then we've learned the hard way over the years, because we did that long before we had the farm. They'll like just sit there and eat the food and die. Like
Yeah.
we had some die of heart attack. We're like, oh, we didn't know we were supposed to pull the food at night.
Gorge themselves.
Yeah, they just literally.
Uh-huh.
I'm
And
like,
their legs break out from underneath them
I'm
if
like,
you're not
this
careful.
is gross.
It is.
Yeah.
And that's what we do. Do you process them yourself?
From time to time, we don't enjoy that, but
No.
yes, the ones we sell, we can't process by ourselves. But
Really?
yeah.
I'm not familiar with
Yeah.
this part of it.
So as far as the state goes,
In order to
they
get
have
it
to be professionally processed.
Oh, okay. I am
So-
familiar with that.
But our own, we've done many a time.
There's a kid that lives not far from here. I think his name's Braden. He's well known for his vegetable stand.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do I get the name right? Mm-hmm. And he has a farm, and there's a farm near him. And I'm not sure the whole circumstances, but he was selling meat products, and they pulled him. The code enforcement officers came over and pulled him, shut it down, and it was for that particular reason. And I don't understand that. And then constitutional right to food, you'd think there'd be an issue there, but I don't know. I don't know. How much harm could you do versus everything
Struggle
else
with
we're
that.
doing? Like I can eat a Ritz. Ritz crackers are delicious. I don't eat that. But I could eat whatever from wherever that's processed and chemically altered and changed, and that's safe as long as I only eat a small quantity. So I can't eat like a true American and have 3 servings of it because it's unsafe at that point.
Let me go down this road a little bit. Sorry to interrupt.
No, by all means, this is about you, not me.
And so probably 8
I have
years
to live
ago,
with myself. Go ahead.
probably 8 years ago, I realized I was gluten sensitive.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, one of those. I'm like, oh no.
Hmm.
Right. Ultimately, I was talking about how bad my back ached and my neck ached and stuff like that to
Inflammation.
my mother-in-law. And she's like, I had the same thing. She goes, I cut out gluten and I've been fine. I'm like, really? So I cut out gluten and I was fine. I'm like, this is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Over the years, because I'm not just happy letting things be, and gluten-free stuff is terrible, right? Over the years, my wife and I have been experimenting, and if I go to Europe, I can eat all the glutinous bread I
I've
want.
heard that from all kinds
Right?
of people.
And so I was like, so we've been buying Italian flour, and she cooks with that. I'm perfectly fine eating all the bread stuff she wants with the Italian flour. So then we took that experiment to a whole nother level. I'm like, okay, the reality is this is glutinous. And again, my dad being a farmer, he's like, I know a bunch of farmers who spray their wheat.
Yep. Glyphosate.
With glyphosate, just to basically get a second crop in. If they spray it 2 or 3 weeks before it's done, it dies enough, they can get it and they can get a second crop on. I'm like, so theoretically, there's glyphosate in, some of this flour that we're eating. And so we buy organic wheat berries, and she grinds her own wheat berries and we make our own flour, and I'm perfectly fine.
That's something.
And then I'll leave the name brand out, but I was having coffee and started like really just my heart twittering and stuff. I thought it was caffeine. So I switched to decaf, still doing it. And I was like, what is going on? And I was talking to somebody like, do organic coffee. There's so many chemicals in coffee. I'm like, well, clearly that affected me for the bread. So I did it for the coffee and I've been fine.
Really?
And most recently, within like the last year, I'm pretty sure almonds affect me. And so I love almonds. But I'm like, I've started noticing it. So I stopped eating almonds. And my wife just told me just the other day, she's like, somebody was talking about how on one of a podcast she was listening to, how almonds are often, they often have chemicals on there.
Yeah, they spray them so they don't wick off moisture, blah, 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 blah. Yeah.
And so again, all of this stuff we're perfectly able to eat, and, our food system in America allows us to eat. And yet, my wife calls me, the canary in the coal mine. She's like, I'm so glad you're here because, now the whole family's not eating all these chemicals that our body.
Because Mr. Sensitive over here.
Exactly.
So for me, I got medevaced out of Afghanistan. I'm home. I decide that cheeseburgers are my best friend, and I got big and fat. I was 285. And cut carbs out of my life and lost the weight and so forth and so on. And now I do fruits, vegetables for carbs for sure, all I want.
Yep.
But I noticed that when I try to eat the flours, I have a sensitivity as well. I haven't noticed it in coffee or almonds or anything else. But
be careful.
I swell. Yeah, I know. You planted a seed. My hands swell up. My knees swell up. I've had a bunch of surgeries. So, yeah. So if I stay away from it, I'm okay. I'm fine, which got me on that path of processed foods. I drink those energy drinks, but they don't seem to bother me as much or at all. So I don't have the same intolerance to chemicals as you. Yeah. So I can still be a good American and eat all the garbage.
Yeah. So I still struggle with Mountain Dew. Yeah. By the way, Mountain Dew doesn't affect me. I'm like, this is garbage, right? Like this is terrible stuff for you.
Cane sugar.
Yeah. But if I'm sitting there, and it seems to ebb and flow, I think, with how much coffee I drink, organic coffee I drink. But if I'm at a high spot where like my heart is just going crazy, then I'm like, I'll prefer to drink Mountain Dew, like just because it doesn't do that. Which is terrible. That was part of my thing where I'm going, well, clearly it's not the caffeine, right? During my figuring it out, I was like, okay, I can drink this coffee and it's affecting me, but I drink Mountain Dew and it doesn't. I'm like, so it's not the caffeine that my body's affecting.
I think there's more caffeine in the Mountain Dew than there is in a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
So it's the chemical.
Yeah, it's a chemical.
You'll have to tell me off air.
Yeah.
I'm curious if I got one of those poisons over there. I'm going to drink it and find out.
Yep. To me, that's why we got into farming is you need to know what's in your food. And, I think that Maine, we're doing things well. We can do them better.
Yeah.
As far as food and as far as empowering people to, have their own. We have our own milk cow. So I'm one of the rare people who I get cow straight from the milk.
Milk straight from the cow.
Yes, that too.
It's okay.
Milk straight from the cow. My daughter, she and her cousin begged us for a milk cow, and we're like, okay, as long as you guys milk every day. And for like 3 years, they have milked every single day without complaining.
Yep, twice a day.
And
how much milk do you get from her?
That certainly fluctuates.
Yeah. Generally speaking,
like maybe a gallon a day, something like that.
Pretty good.
Gallon every other day.
What
we get
breed?
it one day, and they get. She would know.
Holstein.
I want to say
Brown Swiss. That's okay.
I want to say part Holstein, but
Jersey.
Definitely part Jersey.
Yeah. High milk fat.
Yeah.
Delicious.
Absolutely amazing.
That's kind of why I was asking.
Yes.
Sorry.
Absolutely high milk fat and delicious.
Yes. And big udders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we were going to the Republicans down in the Acton Fair were going to be doing a milking competition apparently against the Democrats.
Oh, nice.
And so I practiced up one week and went out and milked with her for 3 or 4 days to have some semblance of an idea. And then the Democrats no-showed, and so
you won.
We won by default. There was no cow involved, but we won.
What'd you do? Rubber gloves?
What's that? With
The milk? No
when
cow
milking?
involved.
No, literally the.
You didn't milk a cow
apparently,
anyway?
Yeah, they apparently canceled.
Oh, no kidding.
And didn't tell us.
Huh.
So
Pinch and squeeze. Pinch and
yep,
squeeze.
Yep.
I worked on a dairy farm when I was a kid.
I will tell you, it's amazing watching. So by the end of those 3 days, I was feeling pretty good about myself. I'm like, okay, like I'm milking. Like this is real. And then my daughter, like they're just like going at it. Like the stream is 10 times thicker than mine. I'm really happy that I have a stream, right? Like because I wasn't at the beginning of the week, and I'm like their stream. I'm like how do you do that? They're like, we just do it. I'm like, that's amazing.
Yep.
So
I probably couldn't do it now to save my life,
Yeah.
but yes, I could at one point and shoot out. We had a dog named Tobias, the shit-eating dog.
yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
yeah. So big farm, and you're eating healthy
Yeah.
and feeling good.
Yeah. The journey and the health journey probably started, probably 16, 17 years ago. I found myself overweight while I was working at Walmart, and just
Easy to do.
I'm like, it just hit me. What the moment of truth came when some skinny guy who was, a manager, he looked at me, he said something about, people being overweight, and looked at me like Robert. And I'm like, whoa, like we've made it to the point where I can be called out in public as if everybody knows this. And I was just like, wow. And that was the moment, and, maybe it could have been done different, but, I appreciated his candidness that I was like, okay, like I've always been athletic. And I'm like, okay, like this is not the Robert I want to be. And so I started running and started working out, and played with eating healthy, and we've come a long way in that area. But eventually, I don't remember when, probably 8 years ago or so, I was with my Mountain Dew, greeting my wife, watching her finish a 5K, her first one, and she did amazing. And I looked at her, I go, she can do this. I can do this. I look at her, and on the way home, I go, want to run a half marathon? And she goes, sure. I'm in. So we did the Lake Auburn half marathon that fall. I'm like, I should probably start running.
Yes.
And so we started running and finished that one successfully, didn't die.
Good for you.
And afterwards, I look at her, I go, want to run a marathon?
Oh.
She's like, sure. So the following year, we the Chicago Marathon, because we went to college there, and it's flat.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's gonna be cool. And just kind of going down memory lane of some of the things we saw in college, and so we did the Chicago Marathon, and I loved the flatness of it. And I had a goal of running it in under 4 hours, and I missed it by like 2 minutes. And I was like, but even worse, my wife did it. And she made it like 3:58 or something. I'm like, So anyway, a few years later, a friend of mine said, hey, I'm going to run a marathon. Do you want to join me? I'm like, I'm in. Let's go. And so we ran probably 5 marathons that year, something like that.
No kidding.
One of my favorite, not favorite, were the Marine Corps Marathon in DC. Was amazing. Like just going through DC.
DC's a great place.
And then all that they did for the veterans and all of that, like it was.
Your boys are here.
Yeah. It was so cool, but it was 80 degrees. So I hated it, and I did horribly with it.
Yeah, that's hot.
Yeah. Come on in, you guys.
I'll pause it right here for a second.
Ooh.
I knew. Animals are great. And so you're running marathons.
Yeah. And so
5 in 1 year.
So the end of that story is basically that we were supposed to be done after the Marine Corps. And again, it was horrible, my personal worst. And because it was 80 degrees, and my friend reaches out, he's like, hey, Philly is in 3 weeks. He's like, do you want to do it? I'd already told my wife, I'm like, I was told you're done, right? Like I'm retiring. And so I look at her, I go, one more? Can I do one more? I'm like, it's 3 weeks away. I only have one long run in between, right? Like you have a week of recovery after the one, and then I'll do one long run, and that's all I really have to do to prepare. And she's like, all right. Philly, it was 30 degrees and snowing.
Oh.
Like it was horrible.
One extreme.
And, yeah. And it was my only marathon where as I was running, I was just smiling. I was looking at the people in the crowd on the side and felt sorry for them. I'm like, dude, you guys should be out here running. It's a lot warmer. And about halfway through, I took off my coat, and finally got to that point where I was warm enough to go without a coat. But like, it was just that. It was terrible as far as weather goes, but it was amazing. And I finally hit my sub 4 hour goal.
Nice. Good for you.
And I was like, all right, now I can retire. I made it. And I thought I retired.
I was going to say, but
yeah. A couple years later, I think, Davey, my 19-year-old, he's 19 now. He comes to me. He's like, Dad, he's like, I've decided I really want to run a marathon before I'm 13. And I'm like,
good for him.
you understand that you're 12 now, right? And he's like, yeah, I better hurry. So we found one that would accept a 12-year-old that ran with me, and we ran it together. And that was by far, that was my favorite, because you're training, you're spending, here you have this 12-year-old who you're spending 2 to 4 hours a day, whenever you're doing a run, just talking about life, just running together, building that. And to watch him cross that finish line and, just accomplish that together was amazing.
Yeah. One mission, one goal.
Yeah. And so it's, again, what is your purpose? What are you doing? And how can you do that the best, for your life and that purpose? And so that was just one aspect of that. That was my favorite marathon.
So Rob Wessels for governor.
Absolutely. Yep.
And one more time, where can we find you?
VoteRobertWessels.com. Or
Facebook.
I'm also on Facebook. I'm on X and Instagram and TikTok.
And donate. There's a QR
donate.
code.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Donate.
Money, money, money. Thank you,
you.
Rob, for coming
Appreciate
here and talking to
It's
me.
been a blast.